You actually shrink. Yeah, as we get older, we tend to get shorter. That is a real thing, in case you've been wondering about it. We tend to lose about a half inch every 10 years after the age of 40, and half inch is about 1 centimeter. So literally, we shrink. We tend to shrink as we get older. We lose more height after the age of 70, and actually we can lose a total of 1 to 3 inches throughout our lifespan. That's equivalent to about 2.5 to 7.5 centimeters. So if you ever wondered why it seems like as people get older, they get shorter, well, it's because many times we actually are getting shorter. Guys, I'm Dr. Jen. We are talking about how your body and body shape changes as you age. Let's keep going because there's a lot of really interesting things. Okay, the next thing is that our body fat actually increases. And this is going to play a role in a number of things with regards to our body shape. As we get older people may have as much as 33% more fat compared to when they were younger. Yeah. So let me continue along this path of fat. The other thing that happens is fat tends to build up towards the center of our body. That's not surprising, right? We might have seen that happen where we feel like maybe our belly is getting a bit more rounder. So fat tends to sort of gravitate towards the center. Now, again, these are sort of just generalities. As you know, everyone's going to be different. So this may not be every single person, but these are some very common changes that happen as we get older. Now, let's talk about men versus women in terms of body weight. Now, you might have known, and if you knew this, you are right, that as we get older, we do tend to lose weight. But the question would be like, well, when does that start to happen? And is it different for men and women? Well, there are some differences. Men, number one, will gain weight in general until about age 55. Okay, it's around that 55-year-old period of time that then they start losing weight as time goes on. Again, this is not everybody, but in general, that tends to happen. Now, women are a little bit different, okay? Women will gain weight up until about 65. That's right. And then after 65, we tend to lose weight. Now, you may be wondering, okay, well, why are we losing weight as time goes on? Now, of course, things like underlying health conditions and stuff can certainly cause that to happen. But let's say that we're not talking about somebody with underlying health conditions. Remember what I said, that our fat content actually goes up as we get older, okay? Remember that the weight loss that we experience occurs partly because fat starts replacing lean muscle, and fat weighs less than muscle. So as we get older, as the fat is sort of replacing muscle, our weight may then go down. Again, there are other reasons. This is not the only one, but I do think that that's super, super interesting, right? And don't forget, by the way, that, our body is made up of fat, lean tissue, bones, water, other things as well. But you know what? We don't start losing lean like tissue and lean muscle later on. We actually start losing lean tissue after the age of 30. So that actually starts pretty early on in our lives. And by the way, I'm going to give you some tips at the end did I say this already? I'm going to give you some tips at the end for combating some of the changes that can happen with our body as we get older. If I haven't said that already, I'm going to do that. So stay with me. All right, let's talk about the skin. Okay. Now, this is really interesting because as we have been talking about fat, one of the things that fat does in relation to skin is like the layer of fat that's underneath our skin actually tends to diminish, to decrease. Okay, we have less fat underneath our skin. What does that mean? Well, it means that we tend to have sagging skin and more wrinkly skin. Fat tends to keep our skin looking buoyant and young and all that good stuff, okay? But there are other things as well. The not having enough fat underneath our skin, or less rather, can cause us to feel cold. So if you've ever felt like older people in your life are often cold or need the temperature cranked up to feel warm, well, that might be one of the reasons why, because we have less fat underneath our skin as well, okay? Also, keep in mind that as we get older, our skin tends to be drier. It also has decreased oil production, and it's less supple and things like that. All right, let's keep moving. Let's talk about bones and joints, because I think it's no surprise to you all that as we get older, we start getting like the creaky joints and things like that. But what actually is really going on, and why is this happening, okay? All right, well, let me talk about that. Let's talk about, ligaments. Ligaments connect joints. Tendons, which bind muscle to bone, become less elastic. So what does that mean? It means that we tend to get joint stiffness. You know, something I even notice as I've gotten older is my joints tend to be a little bit more stiff than they used to be. Maybe sort of recovering from a workout or from a lot of exertion takes a little bit longer. And that's one of the reasons why, is because some of our ligaments and our tendons become less elastic, okay? But not only that, let's talk about like the actual creaking stuff, like our knees and arthritis. I have a patient that calls him Old Man Arthur, she says, and she's referring to arthritis when she talks about that. So one of the things that happens with our joints as we get older is that the cartilage, which is the sort of the material that lines joints, that cartilage tends to get thin due to wear and tear, right? It's been years and years of these joints working and doing their best for us. So they get tired and it gets worn down. Also, the surfaces of the joints don't slide so well like they used to. They don't slide as easily. And some of those changes, amongst others, lead us to osteoarthritis, or as my patient says, Old Man Arthur. So that's something that happens with our body. It changes this way and often, just sort of changes things. And also, let's not forget how our bones then actually become less dense as we get older. So this is also known as osteopenia, osteoporosis. That tends to be because our bones don't have as much calcium, perhaps vitamin D, et cetera, as we used to. They're not, and osteopenia, osteoporosis leads to weakening of bones. But what that means is that you can then be at risk for fracturing your bones. Okay. Again, I'm going to talk about ways to sort of combat all of this. So those are some ways, and there's a whole lot of other things. I've got more videos on what happens to your body as we age, what happens to our penis, our vagina as we age. Like, our body changes. It's really important to be aware of these things, okay? So keep in mind, these are some of the things that happens with our body. Now, let me get to a few things that I think are really important to keep your body in tip-top shape. The first thing is, please make sure that you are exercising. Exercising is good for helping keep bones strong. It's also good for your joints and so many other things, okay? Physical therapy, occupational therapy, if you need to rehab things. But exercise, movement is so valuable. Maintaining a healthy weight. For example, if your weight is a healthy weight, it's going to put less pressure on your joints and your bones and the cartilage and the ligaments and things like that, and may help stave off things like Old Man Arthur, arthritis and stuff like that. So keeping a healthy weight, eating a healthy diet. Also for our skin, making sure that we're moisturizing, not taking long hot baths that actually can further dry out our skin. That's really important. And for things like preventing things like osteopenia, osteoporosis, making sure, again, the balanced diet, if your doctor recommends calcium or vitamin D, following that guidance. Also what we call weight-bearing exercises that allow your bones to sort of continue to be strong. That is really important, okay? While we may not be able to stop aging, I always say aging is a blessing. So getting older is a blessing, but there are things we can do to keep ourselves as healthy as possible as we do age. These are just a few tips. Check out some of my other videos on how the different parts of our body ages. And remember, there's a lot you can do. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you do to stay healthy as we get older. Write this in the comments, because often what you say helps other people. I'm Dr. Jen Caudle, practicing family physician, on-air health expert, and video creator. I do daily videos. On Facebook, please like and follow my page. On YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. Click the little bell for updates. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, etc., WhatsApp at Dr. Jen Caudle. And go to drjencaudle.com to sign up for my free health newsletter. Guys, I'm Dr. Jen. Love y'all.